Imagine a world without personal computers. No Windows, no Office, no internet the way we know it. It's hard to even picture, right? But not too long ago, that was reality. Then came a couple of nerdy, wildly ambitious friends who decided they were going to change everything from a tiny dorm room. Their company didn't just shape technology, it shaped our lives. This is a story packed with genius, rivalries, lawsuits, comebacks, and a level of persistence that's borderline obsessive. So grab your coffee because this is the untold story of Microsoft. And trust me, it's a wild ride.
The Spark. Two Friends and a Dream, 1970s. We're in the 1970s. Computers back then, giant humming boxes that filled entire rooms. Only governments, labs, or big corporations could afford them. But in Seattle, two teenage friends, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, saw something the world didn't. They were obsessed. Like stay up all night, forget to eat, obsessed. Bill was the Harvard kid who barely attended class because he was too busy coding in the computer lab. Paul was his childhood buddy, older, calmer, the visionary type, already working at Honeywell when one magazine cover changed everything. On the front page was the Altair 8800, a build-it-yourself computer kit. For most people, it looked like a glorified calculator. For Gates and Allen, it looked like the future. They realized something no one else had. This wasn't just for hobbyists. This was the start of personal computing. But there was one problem. The Altair didn't have software. It needed a language to actually do anything. So the two friends got to work. They wrote a version of BASIC, a programming language that turned that clunky metal box into a real, usable computer. They showed it to the Altair's makers, and boom, it worked. That one success changed everything. In 1975, they founded Microsoft, short for microcomputer software. Their goal? A computer on every desk and in every home. Pretty bold dream for two guys in their 20s writing code in a borrowed office in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They were coding like madmen, pulling all-nighters, eating junk food, and hustling contracts just to stay afloat. But they were building the foundation of what would soon be a digital revolution. And they had no idea how big this was about to get. Because one phone call from a corporate giant was about to change their lives and the entire world forever.
The rise of the software empire, 1980s. Fast forward to 1980. Microsoft is small but promising. Then enter IBM, the giant of computing. IBM was developing a personal computer but needed an operating system to run it. They came knocking on Microsoft's door. Now here's the twist. Microsoft didn't actually have an operating system at the time. So what did they do? They went out and bought one. They purchased something called QDOS, Quick and Dirty Operating System, for about $50,000. They tweaked it, branded it MS-DOS, and licensed it to IBM. But here's where Gates' business genius shined. Instead of selling it outright, Microsoft kept the rights. That meant they could license it to any computer maker. That one decision made Microsoft unstoppable. MS-DOS became the invisible engine running practically every PC in the world. Then, in 1985, they introduced Windows, a new, friendly graphical interface that let people point and click instead of memorizing commands. Suddenly, computers were accessible to everyone. And it wasn't just Windows. Microsoft built Word, Excel, and later PowerPoint, combining them into the ultimate productivity weapon, Microsoft Office. Gates wasn't just building software, he was building an ecosystem. By the late 80s, Microsoft was everywhere. And while everyone else was trying to catch up, Gates was already planning the next move. But success doesn't come without enemies. and a certain company with a half-eaten apple was about to challenge everything Gates built.
The battle for the future. Microsoft versus Apple, 1980s to 1990s. If you thought Coke versus Pepsi was intense, wait till you hear this. In one corner, Steve Jobs, Apple's brilliant showman CEO. And the other, Bill Gates, the focused, analytical coder who out-strategized everyone. Jobs had a vision, sleek, elegant computers with user-friendly designs. Gates had a plan, get Microsoft software into every machine possible. When Apple launched the Macintosh in 1984 with its now iconic 1984 ad, it was a revolution. But then came controversy. Apple accused Microsoft of copying its graphical user interface for Windows. Lawsuits flew back and forth. But here's the truth. Both companies had taken inspiration from Xerox PARC, the real birthplace of GUI design. The courts eventually dismissed Apple's claims and Microsoft's rise continued. Then came Windows 3.0, and later Windows 95, which was such a massive hit that people literally lined up at midnight to buy it. It had a Rolling Stones anthem, "Start Me Up," and became a pop culture moment. While Apple struggled, Microsoft software became the global standard. And behind the scenes, Steve Ballmer, Gates' old college friend, was turning Microsoft into a sales powerhouse with his legendary over-the-top energy. By the late 90s, Microsoft wasn't just a tech company. It was the tech company. But when you're on top, everyone's watching, and not all of them are cheering. Because just as Microsoft reached the height of its power, the US government came knocking with a lawsuit that would shake the company to its core. The Antitrust Storm, late 1990s to 2000s. The year was 1998 and Microsoft was on top of the world. Windows ran on more than 90% of personal computers. Then, boom. The US government filed an antitrust lawsuit accusing Microsoft of using its power to crush competition. The main issue? Internet Explorer. Microsoft had bundled it with Windows, effectively killing off rival browsers like Netscape Navigator. In court, Gates' testimony didn't help. His robotic, defensive answers made him look cold and evasive. It was a PR disaster. At one point, there was serious talk about breaking Microsoft into two companies. In 2001, the court ruled that Microsoft had indeed abused its monopoly, but instead of being split, they reached a settlement with strict oversight. But here's the crazy part. Even in the middle of all that chaos, Microsoft kept innovating. They launched Windows XP, one of their most beloved products ever, and made a bold move into gaming with the first Xbox in 2001. A gaming console from a software company? Everyone thought they were nuts until Halo dropped and changed gaming forever. Microsoft had taken a beating, but they weren't done, not by a long shot. Yet, as the world entered a new millennium, the internet was booming, and suddenly Microsoft wasn't the cool kid anymore. The Lost Decade, Struggles in a Changing World, 2000s, 2010s. With Bill Gates stepping back, Steve Ballmer officially took over as CEO. Under him, Microsoft made billions, literally billions every year. But reputation-wise, things got complicated. This era became known as Microsoft's Lost Decade. While competitors were innovating, Microsoft seemed to be reacting. They launched Windows Vista, which was so buggy it became a tech industry punchline. They missed the smartphone revolution. Apple had the iPhone, Google had Android, Microsoft had the Windows Phone. Yeah, that didn't go as planned. The company even bought Nokia to boost its mobile efforts, but it flopped hard. Meanwhile, Google was owning search and ads, Facebook was dominating social, and Amazon was taking over the cloud. Microsoft, the former king of tech, felt like an aging giant. But let's be fair, Ballmer also laid groundwork that would later save Microsoft. He pushed into enterprise services, built early versions of Azure, and introduced Office 365, setting up the subscription model that would become a goldmine later on. Still, the culture was rigid, competitive, and risk-averse. Microsoft had gone from being the disruptor to being the dinosaur. And just when everyone thought Microsoft was fading into tech history, a quiet, soft-spoken engineer was about to flip the entire story.
The Reinvention, Satya Nadella's vision. 2014, enter Satya Nadella, a Microsoft veteran with a calm demeanor and a completely fresh mindset. He didn't come in shouting about profits. He talked about empathy, learning, and growth. He told employees, "Don't be know-it-alls, be learn-it-alls." Nadella pivoted Microsoft toward cloud computing with Azure, AI, and collaboration tools like Teams. He didn't care about competing for cool points. He cared about relevance. The results were stunning. Azure became one of the biggest cloud platforms in the world. Teams became essential during the remote work boom. And Microsoft didn't just get back in the game, it became the game. Nadella also went on a buying spree. LinkedIn in 2016, GitHub in 2018, and later the massive Activision Blizzard deal in 2022. But perhaps the boldest move? Partnering with OpenAI, integrating artificial intelligence into Bing, Office, and Windows, making Microsoft a leader again in the next great tech revolution. Under Nadella, Microsoft isn't just surviving, it's thriving. Its market value soared past $3 trillion, and culturally, it feels human again, curious, bold, and optimistic. Because in the end, Microsoft's greatest product wasn't Windows or Office. It was the idea that the future can be built, rebooted, and reinvented by anyone brave enough to dream it.